course, on YouTube as well. And today we have another amazing professional fighter joining us. We've been both basically following each other for the past now three different accounts on my end, but of course, one of hers. Guys, help me introduce a woman who just coming off with a huge win, aka Miss Jana Williams. What's going on, Miss Jana?
Not much. Just got done with practice, jumping on with this interview here. So just right back in the fight camp, trying to get another one lined up.
And of course, I mentioned it. You had a very huge win, which, by the way, congratulations on that. How do you
Thank
feel
you.
after that fight?
I mean, I think it just solidified, especially my grappling game. I've been working really hard on that. It's been a long road and a long process from injuries to switching teams to moving. So yeah, I think it was something off of my first pro fight and then the second fight. It's going up against girls that have had numerous pro fights, so I think it just it gives me the confidence to know that what I'm doing is in line with what we're trying to achieve.
Definitely. So let's go ahead and get things started. So we all get inspired by what we do best. Me when it comes to interviewing, you when it comes to fighting. So what inspired you to start fighting?
Uh, Initially, I would have to say there was a personal trainer that I worked with who is now a black belt in Oregon. I believe he's still in Ashland, but he jumps up and down from Portland to Ashland. His name is Dan Walsh. He's really the one that got me started into this. I guess the real initial reason was that there was, long story short, there was a really bad incident that happened in Portland back when I was living there, towards some Middle Eastern women, and it was something that really put into perspective that even back then I considered myself a strong woman, physically, mentally, but I didn't know how to defend myself, to fight, anything like that. I think that was really the catalyst that sparked everything for me to want to get this in motion.
Yeah.
Initially, it was just to learn some self defense and how to maybe punch correctly. And then we just kept going with it, and then was convinced to fight and kept going with that. And so here we are.
And it's kind of crazy because I mean, it's a lot of people who say, oh, they got inspired by their dad or their mom, but yet for you, it's like it was always like a self defense thing, and I really feel like that women need to know combat sports. It doesn't have to be involved with fighting, but it's like you mentioned before, it's about self defense. It's about defending yourself.
Yeah. I just wanted to be proactive about it because I mean, gosh, especially with so many things that are going on, like politically, current events right now, it's just so many women. Like, if you don't do this to fight, that is absolutely fine. It takes kind of a little bit of a craziness in your brain to agree to do something like this, but at least to join into some sort of martial art or self-defense class to be able to have that background or have that knowledge in case a bad situation does happen. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what really got me started into it.
I mean, you never know. It could be a situation where if it's in West Virginia or in Oregon or any other place in the world, it's like you can be minding your own business. You probably end up getting robbed, but yet you know how to defend yourself and that sort of
Yeah.
aspect. So I really encourage anybody who hasn't learned the self defense to go give it a try. And of course, you talked about transitioning to different teams. You're currently training at MMA Lab, and
Yeah.
of course, this team has been helping you out tremendously. So talk to me about how much they've helped you ever since you joined them.
Oh, I mean, even before I joined, it was goodness, I think it was back in 2021. My coach then, Dan Walsh, he was expecting his first baby, and so in the chaos of the pandemic, he said, of course I've got to think about my family, my newborn, like my new child coming up here. So he couldn't really train me for an upcoming title belt fight that we had scheduled. And so we kind of looked into a few different places, even around the world, that I could go and train. And then we came to the consensus of going down to Arizona. My parents had moved down here in 2020. It made it really easy to just kind of stay with them for a couple of months. And I searched the valley and jumped onto a couple different fight teams and tried like a class or two, or and I think the moment when I walked into the MMA lab and even just did some of their classes, it was just kind of a different level. It was very welcoming. It was it was a higher intensity in which I really enjoyed. And then as I got on that team during that fight camp, I mean, I was very humbled. Like
Yeah.
I was good in Portland. I was good for that standard anyways, but you come down to Arizona and it's another level of training down in Arizona. It's intense, and especially at the MMA lab, you've got some of the best coaches in the world, some of the best fighters in the world, and I stand by that highly. I know it was a year or so ago that we were ranked in the top 5 of the entire world. So
Yeah.
that's saying something. And obviously, as I have developed my skill set, it's they're 100% who I have to give thanks to and praise for, because without them, I definitely wouldn't have the skill set that I have right now.
Yeah, what a coincidence. I mean, because you talked about Arizona. I was interviewing earlier Andrea Lee, and she's from Arizona, I believe.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it's pretty cool the fact I get a chance to talk to people who live in Arizona because I've seen, all that I heard is just the complaints about the hot weather. But,
Yeah.
when you think of fighting, you think of, as far as like Texas. Texas usually has the big fight teams. But Arizona, I mean, there's not a lot of fight teams I would expect to be from that area, and it's kind of crazy to think about, and but especially with MMA Lab.
Yeah, I mean, there really is. And that was one thing that when I initially came down to do this fight camp back in 2021, when I just did some research around the valley, I mean, I got thrown a bunch of different fight teams when I initially looked it up. And I was like, oh gosh, I was like, I've got like 8, 9 different teams to try to like sort through and see who was going to work the best for me. Whereas, like up in the Portland metro area, there was maybe only like 3 or 4, and just, not even. I mean, your top one probably being the American top teams that, is obviously highly notable, reputable, but not of other a lot of other great, you know, kind of world renowned or nation renowned like teams that really caught my eye. But obviously I had a good fundamental base there and learning some of the things that I did. But yeah, coming to Arizona has really it's opened my eyes, because the fighters and the level of even goodness, the strikers, the jiu-jitsu grapplers, like people that grapple here, like that level is so much higher than I was ever exposed to in Oregon.
Yeah, and you're moving down to Arizona. Did you ever have to like transition yourself to a lot of things that you weren't used to in Arizona compared to how you was in the Portland area?
A little bit initially. I'm actually I was born here. I moved away when I was like 8 though, so we would come back most spring breaks. So I knew of the hot weather. I knew of the climate anyways. I It had been quite a while since I really was involved with a bunch of the people down here, but I've really had no issue with people here. Most people here are pretty friendly, and welcoming, outgoing. So I've had a almost probably an easier time making friends here than I probably did in Oregon. I've moved around a lot in my upbringing, so I think I always kind of knew that I wanted to come back to Arizona and live here, but I think I was just getting caught up with going to all sorts of different places. So
It just kind of like seemed like that Arizona was just your home away from home, and now you can finally embrace that, right?
yeah, it was. And I mean, and like I said, my parents had moved back here in 2020. I'm really close with them. It's we've kind of followed each other around to different places that we've moved in my adult years anyways. So when they had moved down here and then I found this team, it was really just a win-win. I had no excuse to not come down here. So it
Yeah.
was a really good decision.
And of course, another thing too about fighting is that a lot of fighters have their different perspective when it comes to the training. A lot of people say it could be the physical aspects, it could be the mental aspects. But my question to you is, what has been the hardest part about training?
I think it's honestly been just trying to like juggle my work balance and my training balance with this anyways, because um I live on my own. I have a dog, I guess, to take care of, and that's really about it. But I mean, for the most part, I do this on my own, and I still have to maintain a personal training business as well in order to really bring in money until fighting starts to balance that out a little bit more. So I think it's really just trying to find like that work training balance and making sure that I'm getting into training and
Yeah.
focusing on myself just as much, if not more, than my personal training clients. So I think it's kind of just working around the schedule has been a little tricky, but I've found, I think, something that fits pretty well within the past
Yeah.
year and a half.
And of course, another thing too is that just something I've always liked to get a chance to ask all professional athletes, especially when it comes to fighting, is that it wasn't a very easy road for you to work your way up to the top. I mean, for anybody who doesn't know, I mean, you have to go through the amateur level, and now that you finally made it to pro, it's like, do you ever kind of look back as far as your days of being an amateur?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because I think it's something that happens probably more frequently. And I mean, it mainly because I had been offered a lot of the same girls or girls that were potential matchups in my amateur career that maybe didn't end up resulting into a contracted fight. But it's something that I've looked back. I had a long amateur career, probably a lot longer than most. I think I had 10 fights as an amateur. So yeah, I racked them up. But so I would definitely love to face off against some of those girls that I have in the past that, either I lost to or even won against. I don't know if any of those girls would agree to a rematch, but yeah, I've been offered a couple of girls from my past that I have lost against. And I've agreed to do those for the most part, maybe all except for one, just because I'm still working on certain skill sets that I want to improve and see developed before I revisit those fights.
And of course, after all those times of being an amateur, and there's always the question of when was you ready for that pro level. So, at that point in time, when was you know that you was ready to go pro?
I think it was really a matter of the right timing. I wanted to make sure we had thought about going pro off of a loss, but that just didn't sit well with either me or my coach. We didn't really like the idea of that. We've seen other fighters do that and still be successful, but we just really wanted to make that transition in a dominant fashion. And
Yeah.
we definitely did that in my last amateur fight. I think we just wanted to really solidify the fact that I was ready. Obviously, maybe that took us 10 fights to do so, but it's still the experience nonetheless. And it's helped me to be patient and know the right timing.
And I think this goes for any amateur who's watching us or will watch this later. It's like I see a lot of amateurs who are just always anticipating just going up to pro, wanting to move so quick. But I think you can agree with me when I say this that good things come for those who wait. If you wait, then yet your time of being a pro will be worth the wait.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest with you, as a professional fighter, even up into the UFC level compared to other professional athletes, like we don't get paid really what we're worth. And that's, I think, something that's been in debate in this industry for a long time. And it's one of those that things are starting to change. And it's like if I would have gone pro years and years ago when I had maybe initially thought, like it just definitely wouldn't have been as lucrative as it's starting to become. And granted, we still have room to grow and the ability to ideally make more, but
Yeah.
I think I look back on that and can kind of be thankful of that. And ideally be happy that I haven't jumped too fast or done that. Number one for the experience, and then number two for actually being paid what we're worth.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy though to think about this. So it's like back then amateurs were not getting the exposure like we're seeing now. It's like nowadays we're seeing amateurs kind of getting themselves ready for the professional level, actually having their fights on professional cards. And do you ever kind of hope that there'll be more exposure to amateurs today, like we were seeing?
I think those that are ready for it. I mean, it's not. There's a lot that comes from being a fighter. Like, I mean, obviously the physicality of it is next level. It's hard to compare any other athlete in any other sport industry against the sort of physical and mental emotional stress that we take on. So it's one of those things that I would encourage people to take their time. I know, especially as an amateur, it's hard because you want to be up there, you want to already be a pro, you want to start making the money, but again, that money that you're going to be making, especially even as a low level pro, isn't anything to write home about or to brag about. It's nothing great. So
No.
you're probably going to make more money on your 9 to 5 or whatever part-time full-time job that you do outside of fighting. So I would take your time, make sure not only you're physically ready, but mentally prepared for that next step.
And of course, this is definitely one of my favorite questions I love to get a chance to ask all the fighters is that, and I really feel like this needs to be talked about more is that, don't get me wrong, this sport has made a tremendous, toll on the physical aspects, but yet people don't understand, especially fight fans, know how much of an impact this sport has made on us mentally. So my question to you is, how much has the sport helped you out mentally?
Um, I think I was blessed in the sense that I was raised in a really good household. I have two very loving parents that not only have supported me through any decision, whether it be, sports, careers, relationships. Like they've always really been there to support me and help me see things through of the things that I wanted to do. So I think I've had ever since, at a younger age, a pretty good mental and emotional standpoint and regulation on myself. Um, I've kind of always known I've done sports since I could walk that this level of competition is something that I could handle. It's something that I thrive off of that I've always kind of felt like I was born to do and born to take on compared to some other opponents that I've even come up across or just people that I've heard in the industry. So it's definitely helped me be more organized and to understand my capabilities and how far I can push myself. So that is awesome. But yeah, I do think that I've been really blessed in that aspect of where I haven't had anything too terrible happen in my life that I've had to really overcome other than maybe some injuries and that's not fun,
Yeah.
especially not two different knee injuries because those are at least a good 9 months of being out of your sport and those are definitely hard to overcome. But yeah, it's taught me patience and organization for sure.
And of course, I definitely want to mention to those who are watching this live or will watch this later on is that, this month is Suicide Awareness Month. And, to me, that definitely means a lot for me because I've seen so many people struggle with depression, anxiety, whatever it is. And that's the beauty about the sport. You can be an interviewer, you can be a fighter, you can be a guy selling a hot dog in the fifth row. I don't care what you do because this sport can make an impact on us mentally. So if you're, sitting at home watching this interview, on the couch eating potato chips, first of all, get your tail up. Two, go be a part of something incredible because, first of all, and I've always believed in this, it's okay to not be okay. But the most important thing is go be a part of any sort of gym, whether if you're in Arizona or if you're in West Virginia, anywhere in the country slash world. And trust me when I tell you, if you're not being loved by your own family, go to any gym, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Jiu Jitsu, whatever it is, and that family will become your own family.
Absolutely. I mean, your family is who you make it. Your family doesn't have to be blood. It's, your closest friends, maybe your teammates, maybe coworkers, maybe bosses, maybe just inspirational people in your life. Find your peace, find your happiness. Don't listen to the chaos. Don't listen to the noise that other people have to say, whether it's in person or on social media. And that's a horrible fact of our generation that we have to deal with a lot of that bullying. But I mean, I've had to talk to some of my friends about this that, are decent influencers. And it's just like, don't listen to the noise, like delete, block. Like my, my list on like my social medias of like people I've deleted is like, it just scrolls and scrolls and scrolls. Cause I don't have the patience or the time for that. I mean, and I don't want to be honest with you. If you have something negative to say, I'm going to delete and block you pretty quickly because I don't need that in my life. And I'm pretty good at just, shutting it down.
And another thing too is that I will admit this though, I'm currently taking medication and go to see therapy. Is that it's never the easiest at all to say the least. And of course, I think our biggest mindset and our biggest challenge is those demons that we deal with. We always end up having some sort of voices telling us that we're not good enough, but yet you got to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you're great, that you can be able to move mountains just by being here. And I can tell
Yeah.
you this because the world needs you, and I'm saying this because I don't want people to go through depression. I don't want people to go through stuff that for them to think about because I can vouch for myself on this. My own testimony is that it's okay to not be okay because
Yeah.
I've learned that if you be a part of something like this in this sport, you don't have to go train to be a fighter, but you can train to be able to make yourself better because you need to be great at the end of the day.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, and you're gonna have ups and downs, and I think that's what people need to understand, that the highs don't come without the lows, and you've got to understand that that is honestly what is great about life and this time that we're given, is that it's not always going to be high, it's not always going to be great, because then at that point it's going to seem diluted, it's going to be not worth it. So as much as the lows suck, and to not be okay is terrible, just hang in there, like keep fighting. Good times are going to come around. They constantly are going to follow your lows. You can't expect that you're always going to be down there.
And I will say this to end out as far as the conversation is that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. It may
Yeah.
not come right now, it may not come tomorrow, but eventually it's going to come soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, one thing I'd love to get a chance to ask you about, and you talked about this earlier on. I mean, you've had 10 fights in amateur, and of course, you're at a professional level. And I want you to look back on this, but who has been the toughest fight in your career?
I'm gonna have to probably say Kari Hill, and that's one that I've actually been offered again, and I I think we're at a point where we could almost do that rematch. I'd like it to be worth my while, for sure. But it was just one that I think she had switched up her style for my fight. I think maybe in particular, and she had kind of, I think from what I knew of back then when we were getting ready for her, is that she was more of stand up, more of a striker, and I kind of been more of a grappler. My style has definitely started to change. It's definitely more mixed,
Yeah.
but I think that's what we focused on a lot during that training camp. And then I actually started getting the better of her on the feet and during striking, and she started shooting and started grappling. And not that she was really able to advance or do anything with it, it was just more of the control, almost kind of wrestling technique that I didn't know how to deal with and how to get out from underneath her. So I think that would be a fun rematch to have in the future. I'd be open to that.
Now, of course, if you don't mind me, do you mind if I plug your Instagram to help you get some more followers?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, if you guys want to get a chance to go follow Miss Jenna, go follow her on Instagram at Jenna Williams underscore CPT. I've tagged her in some of my posts on the Fighting Queens. You guys definitely need to go follow her. She's at 35.8K. Let's get her up to 40K, shall we? Let's hope we get
Let's
up to
do it.
40K.
Why not? Yep. I mean, besides the fighting, I've been a personal trainer for about a decade now, and so if it's something that if fighting is interesting to you, I mean, fitness, your health, your wellness is something that's very closely related to it, and it's something that I've spent a lot of time, a lot of research, education, and money to try to know more about and to help educate others. So not only fighting, but ideally, hopefully, some health and wellness education on there too.
Or if you want to go see her being the amazing person that she is, regardless, just go follow her. Just go show her some love because, for people who don't know, I've got a chance to. We've talked about doing this interview for quite some time. I've had
Yeah.
three accounts now, and it's like you've always progressed, not only as a fighter, but of course as a person. And I'm just honored to be able to get a chance to watch you grow and just be able to get a chance to show my support. So
Oh,
it's
thank you.
definitely been it's definitely been a blessing to see what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You as well. It's funny how, from my last account to this account to the accounts that you've all had, and we've kind of been able to keep in touch and still try to get after each other. So I'm glad that we finally made this happen.
It's definitely just been a wild ride because you know what, and this is something that you may know about is like how this all these interviews happened was I went through a podcast and I left that podcast, started my own stuff, and it's like here I am, but yet you know ever since I followed you, I was like the one person I want to have on here is you because I've seen you grow, I've seen you just become such an amazing person, and I'm so proud of everything that you have accomplished thus far because it's always amazing to watch somebody grow in the ways that you are.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, we're all human. I make mistakes definitely constantly, and I try to be a good person and I try to better myself as, the days go by and grow. So, hopefully whether it's, seeing me in person or, following my Instagram, it's something that, you can work towards too, whether, anyone that sees this, hears this podcast or, this interview, that's just what I'm really striving to do is, just try to encourage hope, you know, try to keep people going and be successful.
And in the words of one of my favorite Pop Roach songs, that we were born for greatness. And of course,
Mm.
another thing too is that you know, there's still some of those goals that we would love to get a chance to accomplish. So, do you have anything you would like to get a chance to accomplish?
Oh yeah, we're getting into the UFC. Like that's definitely something that's on the horizon. It's coming up soon. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Dana, we're expecting a phone call maybe here in the next couple of fights. I'm here to prove myself. I'm here to climb up the rankings and have opportunities that women probably don't have. I'm trying to make a difference in the fact that, getting fighters paid what they're worth. I mean, how many other athletes can you say that really put their life on the line and get paid pennies that we do? So it's one of
Yeah.
those things that, I've got these hopes and these dreams that are going to come into reality here and ideally within the next year or two. So it's stay tuned to see what's next.
Well, I mean, I did just interview a UFC fighter earlier on, and Millions does have a bunch of UFC fighters on there. So, Dana, I know you're keeping your eyes for interview things, but I mean, we do got ourselves an amazing fighter here. So, if you're watching this, which I doubt he will, I mean, give Dana a call.
You
Give her a
never know.
call.
You never know. Yeah.
Give her a call for sure.
Deal.
All right,
Let's
but
have
of
a
course,
chat. Let's see what we can figure out.
that would definitely be an amazing one. Now, of course, this is my last question. Are you ready for this one?
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, so we all want to be recognized for something that we do best. Me, I just want to be recognized as that one cheesy interviewer, but you, as a fighter, you want to be recognized for something different. So, my question to you is what's something you want to be recognized for during your time of fighting?
I mean, I just want to be recognized for. There's a lot of like shit talking. There's a lot of politics in this sport, in this industry, but I really want people to see that you can go into this industry, you can just be you and you can be true to yourself and you can work hard and you can still achieve greatness. Like whatever that is for each person, that is awesome. If it's, being the best dad or the best mom, like that is awesome. That's your goal, right? But for
Yeah.
me, I definitely want to be able to be the inspiration for men and women, obviously, to just really be able to strive and not listen to any negativity saying that they can't do things in life. Like go out there and do it. Like no one's stopping you but yourself, so go out and do it.
And of course, one thing I can definitely say is that you know, for following you for as long as I have, you have been probably the one of those fighters that doesn't talk shit, that doesn't like to get in their faces. Like you're basically like a Migos song. You walk it like you talk it, basically.
Yeah.
And and I will say this though, for anybody who is watching this, I will say this though, for being a part of this community for close to 4 years now, don't get me wrong, it's great. There may be some dysfunctional ones like getting into each other's faces, trying to be
It's
cool.
entertaining, yeah.
I mean, it's entertaining. Don't get me wrong, it's great. But I mean, that's not all we're all here for. I mean, like we'll welcome you with open arms. Just get ready to watch the chaos, whether if it's in UFC or any sort of promotion for that matter. But it's people that you see like Jenna who just goes in there, and just does what she can do.
I'm just trying to do what I love to do and do the job, and I'm trying to step on anyone's toes or make life difficult for anybody. Let's just walk in the octagon. We're gonna both fight. Whoever wins, like, great. Like, let's just have a good time. I'm sure we'll hug it out afterwards.
Definitely, for sure. And of course, I definitely want to say this though. Get ready for Cheesy Jake for having you on here though. I got to do this, but I'm not ready. First of all, I'm not ready.
Well, thank you so much for having me on here. I really appreciate it. I'm glad we took the time to finally do this.
But I'm glad. I'm definitely glad, and I just want to say this though. I'm very, very proud of you for just everything you have done. And of course, if you don't get the recognition or the thanks, just from the bottom of my heart, thank you for what you're doing for fighting. Thank you for everything that you're doing because your story is incredible. Just the way you are is just so incredible, and I'm very honored to have you here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I really do.
You definitely deserve it, guys. Go make sure to follow Jenna on Instagram. You see my posts, go and follow her. She definitely deserves to be up at 40K because she is worth it, and she is definitely an amazing human being, as you can tell. But guys, go follow her. Go show some love. It's definitely been an honor. Thank you for everything. It's definitely been an amazing time. And when I get done, I will definitely send you the link because it's already going to be up on YouTube, anyways.
Yeah. Well, sounds good. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone watching. Hope to, do more and have everyone see me actually in that UFC octagon. Just in a matter
Hey,
of time.
when you do go up in the UFC, just know that I'll be right there with my invisible foam finger rooting for you.
Deal. I love it. Sounds good.
Hey guys, well that will do it here for all of us as far as the millions and on YouTube. It's been a phenomenal 2 interviews that we got a chance to do. But until then, for Miss Jenna Williams, I'm Jake, not from State Farm, saying so long, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.